Love opening up my old notes and just finding that.
Okay, we will call to order the regular meeting of the Batavia City Council for Monday, October 21st, 2019. I'd ask you to all please rise for a brief invocation to be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Tonight, as our city council meets in our regular meeting, we are ever thankful for the many blessings and guidance and opportunities that we find happening in our community. We have been experiencing a fun-filled fall season in our downtown area and a variety of community come-together events. And we are also ever mindful that we continue to, as a community, have very successful activities in our school systems and in our churches. And certainly some of the more recent successes we've experienced in the school system, the music program at the moment is on a very high and is making a lot of very positive noise for themselves. And so we are ever thankful for having all this talent in our town. As always tonight, we want to remember those from our community who are serving on foreign soil in defense of the liberties of the United States of America. We just ask that a special blessing be showered upon each and every one of them as they go about their vital mission. We ask for guidance and direction and understanding as we undertake the agenda before us, knowing that in our hearts and minds, each member of the City Council is here to do what they feel is in the best interest of Batavia and its future. We ask for all these blessings. Amen. Alderman Beck, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ask the city clerk to please call the roll.
Miller.
Here.
Rosado.
Here.
Beck.
Here.
Knopp. Janset.
Here.
Wolf.
Here.
Salvati.
Here.
O'Brien.
Here.
Callahan.
Here.
Meitzler.
Here.
Malay.
Here.
Ewer.
Here.
Cerrone.
Here.
McFadden.
Here.
So we have 13 of the 14 elected members of the City Council present for tonight's meeting, so we have the necessary quorum to conduct business. As is always our meeting reminder, as item number 4, we wish to ask all the members of the council and anybody that addresses us tonight to use the podium and use specifically the microphone, because all of our meetings are televised, they're on TV, and if you're up here talking and you're not speaking into the microphone, it's very difficult for the viewers at home to watch it. And as you know, we also tape it, so the meetings are replayed a number of times over the next couple of weeks, so anybody that misses a meeting can tune into BATV and watch it. Okay, moving to item 5, items to be removed, added, or changed on tonight's agenda. Do we have anything?
I'm aware of none.
Okay, moving to item number 6, right along, presentation of the consent agenda. Alderman Chancet.
Your Honor, the consent agenda reads as follows. Accept and place on file the Historic Preservation Commission minutes of September 23rd, 2019, the Committee of the Whole minutes for September 10th, 2019, September 17th, 2019, and September 24th, 2019. The 2019 Fire Station Bond Refunding Award Packet, and the August 2019 City Council Financial Report. Approvals: October 18th, 2019 payroll in the amount of $958,982.17. The accounts payable check register in the amount of $5,066,250.70. The City Council minutes of October 7th, 2019. For approval, COW Executive Session minutes from September 17th, 2019. And Ordinance 19-71, annexing and zoning 1340 and 1414 North Washington Avenue and 1341 Orion Road. Your Honor, I would move that we approve the consent agenda as read.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Chancet, second by Alderman Salvati for the approval of the consent agenda as presented. Any corrections, notations? Chair hearing none, clerk call the roll, please.
Janset.
Aye.
Wolf.
Aye.
Salvati.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Callahan.
Aye.
Meitzler.
Aye.
Malay.
Aye.
Ewer.
Aye.
Cerrone.
Aye.
McFadden.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Rosado.
Aye.
Beck.
Aye.
Consent agenda is approved by a vote of 13 yes, no no's, 1 absent. Moving then to item number 7, which is matters from the public for items that are not on our agenda. Does anybody in the audience tonight have anything they wish to bring up that's not on the agenda? Okay, moving then to item number 8, we have administering the oath of office to 2 newly hired probationary police officers, and Deputy Chief Mazur is here to introduce this.
Hi, good evening. Tonight I have the pleasure to introduce to you to our 2 newest police officers, and both of these officers were hired to fill existing vacancies within our organization. We are excited to have both of these gentlemen on board with us. We believe that their educational and employment backgrounds are going to make them fine additions to the department staff. So I'd like to call each of them up here individually. Bryce? Members of your family want to come up as well, that's okay. While they're coming up here, I'm going to go ahead and read a quick paragraph here, bio on Bryce Renninger. Bryce Renninger is a graduate of the Cook County Police Academy at Triton College. He has come to the department with previous experience as a police officer with the Hampshire Police Department. Bryce is a longtime resident of the Fox Valley area and a graduate of Aurora Christian High School. He attained his bachelor's degree in computer science from Aurora University. Officer Renninger has just begun our field training and evaluation process, in fact it was today, and is temporarily assigned to the day shift.
If you raise your right hand and repeat after me.
Your Honor. We need a microphone.
If you raise your right hand and repeat your name.
I, Bryce Renninger,
Having been appointed to the position of probationary police officer
having been appointed to the position of probationary police officer
on October 21st, 2019,
on October 21st, 2019,
with the Batavia Police Department
with the Batavia Police Department
in the city of Batavia and the counties of Kane and DuPage,
in the city of Batavia and the counties of Kane and DuPage,
do solemnly swear and affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of probationary police officer to the best of my ability.
of probationary police officer to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
And now I'd like to introduce you to James Reese.
Come on up. Get you all on the camera.
James Reese also comes to us with prior law enforcement experience, having also served as a police officer in Hampshire, Illinois. James received his basic law enforcement training from the Police Training Institute at the University of Illinois in 2016. Officer Reese is originally from the western suburban area. He attended Lake Park High School and is a graduate of Illinois State University, where he received a bachelor's degree in history with a minor in political science. Officer Reese also began working with us today and is temporarily assigned to the day shift.
Very good. If you would raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, and state your name,
I, James Reese,
having been appointed
having been appointed
to the position of probationary police officer
to the position of probationary police officer
on October 21st, 2019,
on October 21st, 2019,
with the Batavia Police Department
with the Batavia Police Department,
in the city of Batavia and the counties of Kane and DuPage,
the city of Batavia, and the counties of Kane and DuPage,
do solemnly swear and affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of probationary police officer to the best of my ability.
of probationary police officer to the best of my ability.
All right.
And just so Bryce and James know, if they want a copy of this when you were sworn in, we can get that from BATV for you.
Well, tonight is kind of a mixed sentiment in my mind because we want to honor Greg Hodge, who is just retired after a very distinguished career as a member of the Batavia Electric Utility. Yeah, come on up, bring your wife if she'd like, or if she wants to take pictures or whatever. And Greg is a person who is no stranger to Batavia. His family, as I said, we had a little party for him out at the Public Works, and his father started as a Batavia paid-on-call fireman in 1957, I believe it was. And so if you start doing the math on that one, that's 43 and 19, that's like 62 years that the Hodge family has been serving the citizens of Batavia. And this is multi-generational, and it includes his father, and then his uncle was our fire chief for a number of years and was very, very involved in progressing the department significantly. So the Hodge family has a very proud record of service to our city, and Greg has certainly added to that, and it was great with great, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for, great reluctance that I learned of his departure to retirement, because he has been one of those guys that knew the system backward and forward and was out there 24 hours a day when called, and really has stepped forward and done a fabulous job for us. So I gotta get, we have it all wrapped up in a box here. Sorry, I had to crack it open for you. So we have a plaque that we give to retiring people of Greg's stature and time, and it says City of Batavia, Greg S. Hodge, crew leader, in appreciation of 30 years of dedicated service to the citizens of Batavia and the Electric Division, November 16th, 1989 to October 1st, 2019, signed by myself as the mayor. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Well, first and foremost, I'm a Hodge, so we always take a mic. But I want to thank my wife and my family for all the support they've given me over 30 years of missing birthday parties and holidays and everything else. But because I knew when I took the job with the family history, it was going to be a job that our entire family was going to take part on. I said, this is a lifestyle, so we all have to be behind it. My wife supported me every step of the way. So I want to thank my wife, Nancy. She's over here. And with that being said, it's my extended family. I really want to thank them for all the support, the City of Batavia, all the guys I worked with over the years, and all the various divisions that we have, being there for us in our time of need. And it's usually not the funnest time of the day or night that we're out in, but it's been truly a blessing and an honor and for me to be able to take care of the citizens of Batavia and hopefully keep their lights on and put a good face for the City of Batavia and the electric department. But again, thank you very much for the opportunity, and I'll still be around town.
Congratulations. Enjoy retirement. Yeah. Enjoy. Congratulations. All right, moving to item number 10, which is the Main Street report. We're honored to have the Executive Director, Jamie Som, here with us. Jamie.
Hello. First, let me say thank you to Greg Hodge, since he's still here and he's staying for my announcements. Greg is awesome. He's been an awesome partner for Main Street, both for our electric needs for our events, but also always out there helping us with the banners and our downtown banner program on the streets that you guys see it go up multiple times a year. So him and his team have been awesome to work with. So I appreciate him, and I'm sad whenever any city employees retire because they have been partners of ours my whole time here, and I love them all very much. Okay, on to Main Street stuff. Hold on, I got a bag of goodies. Choo-choo. Okay, so I'll start with a little recap. Obviously, since I saw you guys last, we had Oktoberfest, and it was a good success. Bummer we had to cancel Friday night because of really bad weather. But again, in talking about the good partners we have at the city, Mark Davis from ESDA came down and showed us the terrifying storms coming our way on the screen. So we were able to plan and prepare and not open the festival on that Friday night and save everybody from having to get shootout when all the lightning and thunder came that would have made us cancel anyway. So that was okay, because then Saturday, everyone who wanted to come on Friday night came down to River Street and joined us, as well as everyone who was planning on coming on Saturday. So we had double the people. We think, 2,500 to 3,000 at any given time on the street, which is a little bit crazy to think of. But it happened, and everybody was having a good time. We had a great full day Saturday and a really great family day on Sunday. And if you didn't come down on Sunday, you missed the most fun thing, which was the wiener dog races. They were very successful. We really did have 50 wiener dogs race on River Street. The crowds for that event alone were insane. People were very excited. So we're planning on streamlining it and making it even better next year. So stay tuned. But overall, the success from Oktoberfest was wonderful. The surrounding businesses got to participate in different ways through our family day, as well as the partnership with the city on the Class G licenses for those who were on the street. And it was very successful. We had businesses report increased sales throughout the entire weekend, thanks to Oktoberfest, both those who participated in a lot of the happenings, but also those who just got residual benefits from all the people being down there. I wanted to come better prepared with some numbers on who attended our events as far as where they came from. Former Alderman Dave Brown and his wife stood at the gate for a 2-hour shift, I believe. We call them greeters, but they also make sure nobody leaves the perimeter with beer. So they were standing there doing their job, and they asked every single person that walked in where they came from. And people came from all over the place. We had visitors from Lake Geneva. We had people from Batavia, but they said majority of the people said they were from out of town. So whether that was St. Charles, Elgin, West Chicago, or further, we had a great amount of visitors to our downtown, which was awesome. And I know that our businesses really appreciate that. Some of them asked us afterward if we were going to do it for 7 days next year, and I politely said no. So yeah, we're just not going to do that. But they were excited, and it was nice to have that positive feedback from the businesses. So anyway, on to Batfest. Batfest is our next happening in downtown. So we don't do flyers for this, so I didn't pass you guys flyers. But this Saturday, we have our downtown trick-or-treating, which is some of the businesses' favorite things because they love the kids going around town. We have over 75 businesses participating again this year. It's kind of exciting because we get to invite a lot of our new businesses to the table. So Oak and Swine is participating, and they just opened. The Red Hive Market, who hasn't opened yet, but they're going to be opening next to Limestone. She is going to be participating. She's going to pop up just to join in on the fun, even though she won't be officially opened. So we've got businesses all the way from 7-Eleven to 31, so Beard's Guard and our friends over there at Mobile, stretching down the entire street. So it really encompasses all of downtown for families to get around and walk around and check out the businesses that they might not have known were there while the kids get treats. Then everything culminates at Peg Bond Center. We have our annual costume contest, costume parade. We have our pet costume contest, so we want people to bring down their puppies. Usually, I don't know if I've ever seen any other animals dressed up, but usually it's puppies. And we are working with Batavia Animal Clinic, one of our downtown businesses, is partnering with two Bostons, which opened in Geneva. But they're both supporting that costume contest, and we're hoping for lots of animals this year. So again, that is from 10 until 2 right here at Peg Bond. We also bring our farmers market, because our farmers market has ended for the season over on North River Street. We bring it over here for the last Saturday of the outdoor market. I believe we have a really good amount of our vendors coming. So I think it was about 25 vendors coming still. So still the fruits and vegetables, flowers, baked goods, all the different items this Saturday, along with Bat Fest. And then I did pass you guys this card. We start our indoor market. New this year, we're moving our indoor market to Bar Evolution. John Hamill has been an awesome partner. He's so excited, and our vendors are super excited about this move. In the past, we've been at Gaetano's, which is now Verita, and the space there was small, so it was a little bit hard to manage the crowds when they would come in, especially prior to the holidays. The Bar Evolution space is going to give us a lot more room to move around, and it's also going to allow for John will do a Bloody Mary bar and a mimosa bar. He's also working with Ferndale, which is one of our vendors, and she's going to be donating farm fresh eggs, and they will have an omelet station. So we're making it more of a happening on Saturday morning, so please come down and check out the market. You can still get a lot of your favorite things, obviously fresh eggs, meats, honeys, baked goods, vegetables, all of that happening while also experiencing one of our great downtown businesses throughout that winter season when everything kind of slows down a little bit. We will be accepting SNAP throughout that season, so make sure to let your neighbors know who might need that assistance. They can still get local food at our indoor market throughout the season. Okay, a couple other things, because we're in October. So we're headed into the holiday season, and I'll have more next month to tell you about a lot of our holiday promotions. But a couple things new this year we're going to do, I'm calling it Deck the Halls in downtown Batavia. So I thought it would be fun to, instead of just watch as our downtown businesses put up some Christmas decorations in their window, we're going to run a little competition. And a lot of them are in. They are very excited about decorating their windows and trying to compete with their neighbors. So I'm thinking downtown's going to look pretty gorgeous this Christmas. We will be announcing the winner at the Celebration of Lights. We are partnering with the Park District on that, so they will let us announce it on stage. And we will run an online voting the week leading up to that. So that will all culminate the weekend of Small Business Saturday. We've been working with our retailers on a few new promotions, so pay attention as we shoot out our retail promotions via our emails, our website, and our social media. We have some happenings the 16th and 17th with Shopping Small, and then we have Small Business Saturday on November 30th this year. So those are really important days for you guys to get out and support our downtown retailers, restaurants, salons, all of those that you can purchase your Christmas gifts right in downtown Batavia locally. The last thing I really wanted to talk about was we are partnering with the city on a fun event that I put out today. And it is called the Batavia Small Business Forum. I couldn't think of a better name. Sorry, I tried. I looked for something fun and it just wasn't happening. So that we're going to hold that on November 13th from 8 a.m. until 10. I don't know, Laura, did you talk about this yet? No. So from 8 a.m. until 10 a.m. right here in this room, we are inviting small business owners and prospective small business owners in our community to come here and get some information. We're going to do it as a kickoff on November 13th, and it will turn into a more of a program of forums that we have in 2020 that all focus on the following topics: zoning, building codes and permitting, liquor licenses, and incentives and business assistance. So those were topics that I actually discussed with Laura that I heard businesses asking a lot of questions about, so we wanted to just make it clear, give everybody good answers, everybody's on the same page, and give them as much information to help them grow their business, start a business, or work on succession planning for their business. So, we put it out when I saw earlier, I think we were already 10 registered people, so I thought that was exciting because they actually had to go on and register in order to come. So getting people to do that the first day you put something out is really great. So I'm very excited about that. I think it's going to be a really good benefit to our businesses, a good partnership with us and the chamber and the city, and just kicking off into 2020 being as business friendly as we can be. One last thing. You will see, the chamber put it out for me today, but you will see hitting everywhere tomorrow, because I'm going to get it everywhere. The Batavia Main Street will be hiring a new executive director. So the job description is out and available, so please spread the word and invite all your friends who you think are qualified to support your downtown businesses and help grow your downtown community. So we'll be looking for that. And obviously we want somebody who can work with all of you guys and work with the staff. So does anybody have any questions?
Any questions?
When was the small business forum, the time?
8 a.m. until 10 a.m.
Thank you.
Yep. I can send you guys the link too. I don't know if you guys would need to register necessarily, but if any of the council wants to join us, that would be great. Yes, sir.
So this does mean you are interim, you're not going to be applying?
It does mean that,
Okay.
yes. I'm on the hiring committee.
All right, just checking.
Yep, thank you. Anybody else? No? All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you. All right, next we have a presentation from the Batavia Foundation for Excellence, Educational Excellence. Jan?
Hello, I am Jan Wright, and I am the current chair of the foundation. And for those that really have no idea what we do, we were established in 1985, and we have been partnering with the school district ever since to enhance opportunities for Batavia students. And the way we do that is we award grants to teachers, administrators, or community members who have innovative projects that they believe would help students. So we've estimated that in that time, since 1985, we have probably awarded over $500,000 worth of grants to teachers, administrators, and community members. And as you know, in order to do that, we must raise funds. So I'm here to introduce two projects, current projects, to you tonight. One of which is a affinity card. We are partnering with the Kane County Teachers Credit Union, and they have created a Bulldog debit or credit card, and you can see the images up there. And I've also given you a card. This is a duplicate of one of the cards that we have, and I've also given you a card holder. And the idea with this is you peel off the back and you stick it to your phone, and then your card is with you wherever you go. But the idea behind this card is that if you're a current member of the credit union, you can switch over to this card. If you're not a current member of the credit union, you can either become a member and get a card, or you can just apply for their credit card. And we then, as an organization, will get a percentage of the transaction fees that occur when you use the card. And so, as you know, those transaction fees are paid for by the vendor. So you, as the user of the card, are donating to our organization without spending a penny, which is a wonderful way for you to give to our organization, a wonderful way for us to ask for donations without really asking you for money. So we have kicked off this card, and for those who would like more information, you can either go to the bataviafoundation.org site, or there is a d101.kctcu.org site, which is the credit union site. Along with doing this card, we were talking to the credit union about the possibility of putting an ATM here at City Hall. And so we checked with Laura, and I think she checked with you, because I think you had to approve it. And so we now have an ATM sitting in the lobby across from the police desk. And so this is a wonderful opportunity for those who are attending events by the Peg Bond Center, and you have to pay cash for something, and you've run out of cash, or you've gone to the farmer's market and you got to pay cash and you've run out of cash. So you've got a central location to use an ATM. So we thought that was a big plus for the city to do that. The second fundraiser that I want to talk to you about is a fundraiser that is occurring February 29th, 2020. It's on Leap Year Day, and it is called Compete for Beefy, the Ultimate Scavenger Hunt. And so we have partnered with a local businesswoman who organizes scavenger hunts. We're going to start at 6 o'clock at the Peg Bond Center, and teams of 4 will compete to go to different businesses in Batavia and scavenge for different items. After they have collected all the things that they need to, they will then go over to Pal Joey's, and we will have dinner, have raffles, have a silent service auction, and have some fun. All the proceeds, of course, will go to the foundation, and we then will award grants for using that money. So we're hoping that you can join us in that event. And that's all I have, unless you have questions.
Any questions? Well, we wish you the best on, you've got a great organization that does a lot of great, good things in this town, so best wishes, and
thank you.
We're here to help work with you, so.
All right, great. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving then to item number 12, which is the appointment of Jennifer Favor and Robert Krozik to the Historic Preservation Commission. I stopped the agenda from being made last Friday afternoon because we were in desperate need of putting a couple people on the Historic Preservation Commission. There's 7 members, and we had lost 3 of them. And so the last meeting, there were 4, the 4 existing ones still in the commission all showed up at the meeting, and we were able to have the meeting because we just had the quorum with nobody to spare. And so I was nervous that the next time we have a meeting, somebody's going to be missing, so we needed to have a couple. But these aren't just anybody I found on the street. Jennifer is lives over on Illinois Avenue and is quite a student of architecture and buildings, and has begun a assembly of information about all these Sears manufactured homes that were built in Batavia in the 1920s and 30s, and has really gone to great depths to explore and discover, and there were apparently several other companies along with Sears that were involved in that. Sears even had their own mortgage company that you bought the house and then they also sold you the mortgage. So anyway, she's done fabulous work, and she most recently gave quite a very interesting program at the Batavia Historical Society about this, and it was in this room. That's the first time I had ever seen her. But she really does have a handle on architecture and understanding. And Bob is a architect by profession, and one of the things that our ordinance, when we created the Historic Preservation Commission, calls for is that one of the members has to be a licensed architect. And we did have one who just left us because of her duties out at Northern Illinois University, and she couldn't continue on, so Bob has stepped forward. Interestingly, Bob and his wife live down in the townhouses that surround Bellevue down on South Jefferson Street, so they're living in deep-seated Batavia history down there with the Mary Todd Lincoln legacy and everything that's there. So quite honestly, I'm very, very pleased and excited to have these 2 people's names to submit to you for appointments to the Historic Preservation Commission. I'd ask for a motion of confirmation.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Alderman Wolf, second by Alderman Malay. Any discussion? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Wolf.
Aye.
Salvati.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Callahan.
Aye.
Meitzler.
Aye.
Malay.
Aye.
Ewer.
Aye.
Saron.
Aye.
McFadden.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Beck.
Aye.
I'm sorry, Rosato.
Aye.
Beck.
Aye.
Jansit.
Motion's approved, 13 yes, no no's, 1 absent. Okay, moving to 13, which is ordinance 19-69, amending title code for the city code related to body art establishments. Who's got this one? Alderman Chanzit?
I do. So city code currently limits tattoo licenses to 2, and the next item on the agenda, 19-70, is the granting of a conditional use permit. That passed out of committee with unanimous favor, but in order to have another establishment, we do need to adjust our current cap of 2. So 19-69 would adjust city code to allow for an additional establishment. So if there are no questions, I would move that we approve 19-69, which would be to amend the city code to allow for an additional license.
Second. Moved by Alderman Chanzit, second by Alderman Callahan, for the approval of ordinance 19-69 related to the body art establishment number. Any discussion? Alderman Chanzit? Or excuse me, Callahan.
I would like to make an amendment to the actual wording, though, on this, based on the economics of this type of business. I feel that with the opportunities for different salons in town, when we were originally discussing this, we were talking about lifting it in its entirety.
Yep.
And I know that having no number made some concern about that. I'm in favor of no number, but, you know, I can understand limiting a number. So I would amend instead of 3 to 5.
Second.
We have a motion to amend the ordinance to change the number of establishments from 3 in total to 5. Any discussion on that? Alderman Chanzit?
I would say I was in the camp that supported not having a cap on these as well. I believe that the market will sort this out. Batavia could not have 9 Thai restaurants. We can have 2. I do not think that we're going to see a flood of body art establishments. And even if we were to have that problem and have a lot of successful artists move into our town, they would only be regional draws for more business. So I would support increasing it to 5 as well.
Alderman
And just to clarify for those that are perhaps watching and are not seeing the ordinance as it's written, we're specifically talking about the number as it relates to the downtown mixed-use area.
Right.
When across all of Batavia is a different question here, so just clarifying.
And each one of, the point I was going to make too is each one of these is a conditional use.
Right.
Whether we allow 2, 3, 5, they're all going to come back before us as conditional use in the downtown mixed-use district. So we will get an opportunity to review each one on its own merits.
So we're acting on them, Alderman Callahan?
Correct, and the reason for it is there are possibly some opportunities for different salons in town to do microblading, and instead of it coming back to us to revisit the number, we would have 2 in a holding pattern, but still have the conditional use variant, the conditional use process.
Okay, we have a motion for the approval of the amendment increasing the number from 3 to 5. Clerk, call the roll on that amendment.
Callahan?
Aye.
Meitzler?
Aye.
Malay?
Aye.
Ewer?
Aye.
Saron?
Aye.
McFadden?
Aye.
Miller?
Aye.
Rosato?
Aye.
Beck?
Aye.
Chanzit?
Aye.
Wolf?
Aye.
Salvati?
Aye.
O'Brien?
Aye.
Amendment to ordinance 19-69 is approved by a vote of 13 yes, no no's, 1 absent. So now we have to have a vote on the ordinance, which is now amended to say 5 instead of 3. Somebody care to make that
I
motion?
made the motion, and then you were second.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Chanzit, second by Alderman Callahan,
Yes.
for the approval of the ordinance 19-69 as amended. Clerk, call the roll.
Chanzit?
Aye.
Wolf?
Aye.
Salvati?
Aye.
O'Brien?
Aye.
Callahan?
Aye.
Meitzler?
Aye.
Malay?
Aye.
Ewer?
Aye.
Saron?
Aye.
McFadden?
Aye.
Miller?
Aye.
Rosato?
Aye.
Beck?
Aye.
Ordinance 19-69 is approved by a vote of 13 yes, no no's, 1 absent. Moved to item 14, which is ordinance 19-70, granting a conditional use permit in the DMU Downtown Mixed Use District for a tattoo parlor piercing studio at 127 State Street under Richard Nelson, Classic Tattoos. Who's got this one?
I do.
Alderman Callahan?
So now that we've increased to 5, possibly welcoming a new business with the granting of an additional spot for Richard Nelson at 127 State Street. Does anyone have any questions? Would you like to come up and discuss your business? Let us know where it is.
Hi everyone, my name is Richard Nelson. I live at 312 South Van Buren Street. I am the proud owner of Classic Tattoo, hoping to open this week for appointments. We will be a walk-in tattoo shop as well. I'm hoping by November 1st. I wasn't able to put all that I had to into the old Domino building until I knew for sure that I was going to get this. It's been a long 3-month process. So thankfully I've got it. So now I can get back to business. We will be a tattoo shop as well as a piercing shop. We will be doing both. We will be doing walk-ins as well as appointments. We will be open 7 days a week, Monday through Saturday, 12 until 10, and Sunday we will be open from 12 until 7.
I know if this passes tonight and if you were open, in December of past years, you have done some philanthropic work in the community related to
The semicolon
suicide prevention.
The semicolon project, yes, and I will still continue to do that in December for the whole month of December.
I just wanted to recognize you for that and thank you for that.
Thank you. I was lucky. I was lucky to find an opportunity to be able to do something like that. Usually a tattoo business is usually looked upon as a frowned upon, the reason why you have a limit to how many shops can be in there, So luckily I can give back.
How many employees will you have?
I am still in the hiring process. Until I got the okay, I didn't want to promise anything to somebody and not get the promise. So.
Okay. Any other comments? Clerk, call the roll then on.
I need a
Made a motion.
I move we approve ordinance 19-70, granting a conditional use permit in the DMU Downtown Mixed Use District for a tattoo parlor piercing studio at 127 State Street. Richard Nelson, Classic Tattoo applicant.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Callahan, second by Alderman Chancet, for the approval of ordinance 19-70 for the tattoo parlor and piercing studio at 127 State Street. Any further discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Callahan.
Aye.
Meitzler.
Aye.
Malay.
Aye.
Ewer.
Aye.
Saron.
Aye.
McFadden.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Rosado.
Aye.
Beck.
Aye.
Chansett.
Aye.
Wolf.
Aye.
Salvati.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Ordinance 19-70 is approved, 13 yes, no no's, 1 absent. Welcome to town.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, moving then to item number 15, which is ordinance 19-72, authorizing sale of the Georgetown Detention Pond property by solicitation of bids. Who's got this one?
I do.
Alderman Jansen.
Your Honor, as we learned in committee last week, there is a section of detention pond that is currently considered public land that probably would be more appropriately if it was owned by the homeowners association over at Georgetown. So ordinance 19-72 authorizes the sale of that land by solicitation of bids. As we learned in committee, we want this land to go to the homeowners association, and so we have some relatively broad powers in how we grant this, but we expect them to be the only applicant. So if there are no questions, I would move that we approve ordinance 19-72, which would authorize the sale of that land by solicitation of bids.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Chancet, second by Alderman Metzler for the approval of the authorization for the sale of the Georgetown Detention Pond property. Any further discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Chansett.
Aye.
Wolf.
Aye.
Salvati.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Callahan.
Aye.
Meitzler.
Aye.
Malay.
Aye.
Ewer.
Aye.
Saron.
Aye.
McFadden.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Rosado.
Aye.
Beck.
Aye.
Ordinance 19-72 is approved, 13 yes, no no's, 1 absent. Moving to 16, which is resolution 19-103-R, recommending award of a facade improvement grant for 117 and a half through 119 South Batavia Avenue to Mosier. Who's got this one? Alderman Callahan?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. This is an application for a facade matching grant by Dan Mosier. This is for currently the property with the tenants of Beardsguard Barbers. The subject grant project will serve to complete the planned improvements to the exterior of the building, replacing 2 wood windows in the rear of the building that face the parking lot, and replace the wood exterior door to the upstairs apartment located at the front of the building, and talks about additional options for the facade improvements. Pursuant to the grant guidelines, he received 2 bids from different contractors, and the lowest of the 2 is in the amount of $2,215.85, and this would be in the amount of 50% of that. So I move we approve Resolution 19-103-R, awarding the said grant to Dan Mosier, the property owner.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Callahan, second by Alderman Metzler, for the approval of the awarding the grant for facade to Mr. Mosier for 117.5 through 119 South Batavia Avenue. Any further discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Callahan?
Aye.
Meitzler?
Aye.
Malay?
Aye.
Ewer?
Aye.
Saron?
Aye.
McFadden?
Aye.
Miller?
Aye.
Rosato?
Aye.
Beck?
Aye.
Chanzit?
Aye.
Wolf?
Aye.
Salvati?
Aye.
O'Brien?
Aye.
Resolution 19-103-R is approved, 13 yes, no nos, 1 absent. Move to 17, which is Resolution 19-110-R, awarding a grant under the Gateway Improvement Program for Batavia buildings at 9 through 3 through 15 South Batavia Avenue. Alderman Callahan, do you have this?
Yes, this is for, there is no memo attached to this. This is for the Gammon Host parking lot for the improvement. This is falling under the Gateway Improvement Program that we approved earlier this year from the funds from the community. What was the name of that? The community development?
Yeah.
Okay. And that came from not taxpayer dollars, but it came from the state and the federal government, that those monies have been sitting there for several years. So this is a way to improve our downtown gateway program. And with that, I will make a motion to approve Resolution 19-110-R, awarding a grant under the Gateway Improvement Program, building Batavia Buildings LLC, 9 and 3-13 South Batavia Avenue.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Callahan, second by Alderman Muir for the approval of Resolution 19-110-R, awarding the grant to Batavia Buildings for 9 through 3 through 15 South Batavia Avenue. Any discussion?
Your Honor?
Alderman Wolf?
1 point. Well, the applicant is not here tonight. He was here at the COW meeting last week, and we did discuss the layout of how he's going to replace the parking lot that was out there, and there is a big section of it that is really unused, the northeast side facing the Batavia Avenue and Wilson Street corner, and they're going to landscape that rather than repave it after they take that out. So I thought that was a good compromise and a good way to get rid of some of the non-permeable surface that's on that property and have a little more grass or landscaped area out in front of it. So I think it's a great thing, and I also wanted to commend them from all the money that personally they're putting into the properties that they own in town. And so I'm happy that the city is willing to participate with them in that, because it's a lot of private investment into the buildings and properties downtown.
Any other comments? Clerk, call the roll.
Callahan?
Aye.
Meitzler?
Aye.
Malay?
Aye.
Ewer?
Aye.
Saron?
Aye.
McFadden?
Aye.
Miller?
Aye.
Rosato?
Aye.
Beck?
Aye.
Chanzit?
Aye.
Wolf?
Aye.
Salvati?
Aye.
O'Brien?
Aye.
Resolution 10 through, Resolution 19 through 110-R is approved, 13 yes, no nos, 1 absent. Moving to 18, which is ordinance 19-68, grant of variance for front setbacks at 804 North Van Buren Street. TK Green Enterprises LLC applicant. Who's got Alderman Callahan?
Thank you, Your Honor. Attached is this ordinance regarding the setback variances for the existing home. As we discussed in committee, this is really a design as the way the house is going to be laid out. The front becomes the side becomes the front now, and that is what necessitated the variance request for these front setbacks. Did you want to describe anything else on this?
No, it's just a reduction of the front and side setbacks due to the fact that they are proposing a lot split, and the lot split is then going to change which yard is facing which street. So because of that, that causes the need for the variances.
And as we had discussed at the committee level, the existing home could be torn down and recentered just by a few feet, and you would have to then rebuild the two houses. But I think this ultimately does fit in the character of the neighborhood, and it would be a welcome addition. With that, I will make a motion to approve ordinance 19-68, grant of variances for the front setbacks, 804 North Van Buren, northeast corner of Lake Street, Judd Lofke, TK Enterprises LLC applicant.
Second.
Okay, moved by Alderman Callahan, second by Alderman Malay for the approval of ordinance 19-68. Any discussion?
Your Honor.
Alderman Wolf?
One of the things that we brought up during the discussion at the cow meeting was the fact that this house could be torn down, and then the one big lot that is originally part of this property could have had one big house built on it. And with the opportunity of being able to split that lot, there will be two smaller houses that will be available. And, I look at that as part of the makeup of our town and the ability to have two smaller footprint houses that, younger people could afford to live in and not have to have dual incomes to be able to afford the one big house that could be built on that lot. I like the fact that we have that ability by doing this to allow two smaller houses to be built in town and to have that difference in our housing stock be available in town. So I think it's really important that we do this and make that possibility available there.
Any other comment?
Yeah, I would just like to weigh in since unfortunately neither Joe nor I could be here last week at the cow. I was able to watch the video though, and it was a very good discussion you had. Maybe you even learned something, Mark. But I am within the perimeter there and did get notification from the owners for that and talked to the neighbors around, and there was not concern. I saw no other concerns from the neighbors. The two people that submitted, the two letters that were submitted at the commission, I reviewed those and found that really there was not grounds against that, what's being planned there. The reality is that house that's there, sure, we may call the other side the front yard, but everyone's going to know there's no door on the front yard. On that side, the front is always going to be there in terms of fitting in the neighborhood. And interestingly, one of the letters came from someone who a few years ago built a house on a very similar sized lot just a block away. And that house fits fantastic in the neighborhood, and I think it's an improvement. And I think from the neighbors I spoke to, sure, the loss of a community garden, that's a shame, but we can't say that someone can't use their property as they see fit. So, and that tree, I think the tree can be a great, most likely a house could be situated there with that tree there, and the tree would be trimmed up to, which it does need anyway. So I just want to say I support that, and I think it's an improvement for that neighborhood. And Alan, I think you're right on creating a more accessible Batavia for more families, and that's what we want.
Anybody else? I just want to take a moment and share something with you. Having obviously lived in this town all my life, I remember Batavia very vividly in the 1960s. And on that street in the 1960s, one of my very best friends lived at 917 North Van Buren, the last house out there. And the street was basically about, I don't even know if it was one car wide from Latham north up to the end. It was a pretty barren street up there. And there was a lot of vacant lots, but there were some houses, but the houses were either run down or in pretty bad shape. And what you go up, I wish I had the pictures of what that looked like back about 1966 versus what it looks like today, and what I think this will continue to do, because talking to the folks that are developing this, I think their hearts are in the right place and the right things are going to happen here. But this is a remarkable situation up there. Where that was versus where it is today is just fabulous to see the positive impacts that it's had in the town. And then, of course, the Nagle Farm got subdivided, and we got Osier and Maves Drives built in there, and those are two very proud historic names to that neighborhood. Mr. Osier was a runaway slave who supposedly was at Gettysburg and listened to Abraham Lincoln give the Gettysburg Address. And Maves was the local grocer, had the neighborhood grocery up at Church in Washington for about 55, 60 years. And he was a beloved figure there because many times people would come home and didn't have the money to buy the loaf of bread, but they'd go over to Mr. Maves and he'd give them credit. And I will tell you the story that the day he retired, I was working at the newspaper as a reporter, and I went up to do a little story about him. And in my presence, he took all these books of credit he had extended, and he says, well, I'm never going to get paid for these, so he threw them in the trash. And that's just the type of guy he was. And so there's a lot of really nice things about that neighborhood that I can think of that, you know, those people who are now the new generation up there are doing a great job in maintaining their properties. And the houses that house at 917 that I used to drop my friend off at has been totally, what was there now has been encapsulated, what was there then has now been encapsulated into a much bigger house. And it's a beautiful house, and there's brand new ones built right next door. And I think there's probably the opportunity over on Park Street behind it for some other nice redevelopment to take place in the next couple of years. So it's just, I just wish some of the people who I knew were alive back in the 60s could be here today and see what a nice area that has become. There was nothing really wrong with it. It just didn't have the quality of housing that we have there today, and speaks well to everything that's happened there. So I really am pleased by everything that's transpired. So that being said, I guess we have a motion and second for a call for the vote on resolution 19-68.
Callahan?
Aye.
Meitzler?
Aye.
Malay?
Aye.
Ewer?
Aye.
Saron?
Aye.
McFadden?
Aye.
Miller?
Aye.
Rosato?
Aye.
Beck?
Aye.
Chanzit?
Aye.
Wolf?
Aye.
Salvati?
Aye.
O'Brien?
Aye.
Ordinance 19-68 is approved by a vote of 13 yes, no no's, 1 absent. Okay, moving to 19, which is resolution 19-111-R, authorizing to execute a contract for 2019 and 20 for snow and ice removal services from Kozar Custom Landscapes for an amount not to exceed $70,000. Do you have this, Alderman Wolf?
Yes, Your Honor, I do. Well, it's that time of year again. It's time to think about snow and ice. This is a contract for downtown snow and ice removal that we've done the past several years. Downtown, you can see the breakouts in the bid sheet that came out with the item, and quite a bit of difference in there, and we're going to go with Kozak Custom Landscapes this year as the low bidder on this. Any questions? I'll make the motion that we approve resolution 19-111-R, authorization to execute a contract for the 2019-2020 snow and ice removal services with Kozak Custom Landscape for an amount not to exceed $70,000.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Wolf, second, somebody over here, Alderman Malay, for the approval of resolution 19-111-R for the Kozak Custom Landscape contract for snow and ice removal. Clerk, call the roll.
Wolf?
Aye.
Salvati?
Aye.
O'Brien?
Aye.
Callahan?
Aye.
Meitzler?
Aye.
Malay?
Aye.
Ewer?
Aye.
Saron?
Aye.
McFadden?
Aye.
Miller?
Aye.
Rosato?
Aye.
Beck?
Aye.
Chanzit?
Resolution 19-111-R is approved, 13 yes, no no's, 1 absent. Moving to 20, the administrator's report. Laura?
Good evening. I just have a few items tonight because staff has been very much consumed with preparation of the 2020 budget for council's consideration coming up here over the course of the next several weeks. The construction continues at Raising Cane's, and there's a great big sign there advertising the fact that they are now hiring staff for the restaurant, and we expect that they will be opening in early December. I've heard a lot about our new Oak and Swine restaurant. I had an opportunity to eat there myself, as have many members of our staff. And Wednesday night, I did not see it myself, but I heard that there was a line out the door and down the street. So it appears to be a very successful addition to our what is becoming a nice restaurant district in our downtown. Council has requested that staff make contact with BEI regarding the railing that surrounds the Batavia Plaza, and we'll be meeting with them this Wednesday to sit down and talk about a plan for the replacement of that railing. We also have, let's see, everybody wants to know about when the leaves will be picked up, and I think that there are a tremendous more amount of leaves on the ground tonight than there were last night. So the next leaf pickup is going to be on the west side on October 28th, and then back to the east side on November 4th. And I think that's all that I have, unless anybody has any questions for me. Yes.
I just wanted to talk about the pleasantly surprising news from the state regarding the road diet. Have we heard anything more about that, or is there any progress?
No, but so about a month and a half ago, we had sent a letter to the Illinois Department of Transportation asking if they would consider a road diet on Route 31. And last week, we received a letter back that while certainly without seeing what the traffic counts on that road are, they can't say whether one would be approved or not, but they encouraged us to engage in the traffic study that would be an indicator of whether we either met the traffic maximums necessary to get a road diet approved, and also a study of the dangerous conditions that might exist. And while it wasn't pointed out in their letter back to us, they had indicated that they did not see that the pavement was substandard. And while the condition of the pavement may not be substandard, the width of the lanes is, no one can argue that the width of the lanes is certainly not to a standard that IDOT would build a road today. So that will definitely be a point that we will make to try to encourage the approval of a road diet. Thanks.
Thank you.
On that point, I think it's very interesting the way I read that letter, that if we're paying for the study, it goes to one department, and if somebody else, federal, was the hint, that it goes to another department. Does that mean, what does that really mean? Is that them trying to tell us to go one way with it or the other?
All I got from it is we're not paying for it.
Well, I understand that the state doesn't have any money to pay for it, but what
Exactly.
I tried to
Sure.
extract from that, and maybe the mayor could help us with that, with his dealings with CMAQ and everybody else, that one of those routes might be an easier one to go down.
Well, I will tell you, in my conversations with IDOT in there, I don't get a lot of enthusiasm for the idea. They do not like road diets, I don't think. I think there's a concern that this one, if it gets enacted, could have some problems develop very quickly around it. They're worried about how specifically stuff like the entrance to the homestead would be dealt with on Route 31, because suddenly you're going to have one lane for those people to turn into or onto, or however you're going to design that. That would be one thing that's been raised to me about how it did. Then when you get it down at, say, the intersection of Houston and Batavia Avenue, I think they perceive there's a lot of problems with that, because you've got businesses turning in off that street on all four corners of that intersection. So that becomes another major issue down there in trying to deal with that. I'm sure we went through this whole thing with them about the idea of putting that island in the middle of the street, and that one had some ADA issues with it and everything else, because you were putting a curbed structure out in the middle of a street when you had people trying to go across in wheelchairs and walkers and whatever have you, and if you made it without a curb, people would be driving on top of it. So they just shook their head when I had the conversation in there with them on that. So I don't know. I mean, I guess it's nobody wants to get anybody upset or mad, so it's kind of a pass the buck thing.
I just didn't know if the red tape or the speed at which they might look at something like that would be in a different lane, so to speak, if it was one or the other.
I don't know. I think right now that most of the departments in the state of Illinois are so undermanned that most of them don't have IDOT specifically has a big backlog on projects to try to get stuff that's already in the can, so to speak, and they really don't have, I think, the idea that they want to take on a bunch of other things right now, given they haven't been able to hire a whole bunch of people given the constraints of the state budget.
Well, I think we should still, to your comments, Mr. Mayor, we should still be pushing IDOT for the road diet, because it is our downtown, and cars are driving through our downtown. We want them to drive slower through our downtown and see our downtown. I mean, I think it's important to Batavia that we do this and not worry about IDOT saying we got to get people across town. I mean, that's really not our concern, I don't believe. Most of our concern about getting people across town is east-west, not north-south. So I think it's something we should push, because I think it'll benefit our downtown greatly.
I would just add, we'll find out in about a month when we talk about the budget if we're going to pay for it, because it's more than $100,000 study. So, yeah.
You know what? I get all of that.
Yeah.
I really do get all of that money stuff. But, you know, we can't not at least plan for something. We should still be thinking of the future and try to accumulate some dollars. And I think dollars will come to our town, because we have one North Washington that is going to come. And as evidenced by the success of just the idea of it, is we have the Oak and Swine, and we have Aquaviva, and we have restaurants coming into our town, and so we have the clothing store that opened up. So I think it is successful, because people are seeing, hey, there's going to be a lot of foot traffic in our town, and so I think there will be some generation, some tax dollars generated, and I think we should use that towards the future. I mean, it's not about today and tomorrow. It's really about the future, and so I think that's what we should be. Let's not lose sight of that.
And what we're trying to do with the road diet is reduce the complexity of people crossing east and west across Route 31, so that they have less traffic to contend with crossing from one side to another. So you'll have one lane of each bidirectional traffic, but a free lane in the middle for people to wait to make their left-hand turns. And so that's really what we're trying to accomplish, because our downtown is experiencing a great deal of growth, and more people want to come to wonderful festivals like Oktoberfest to make sure that they can get there safely by foot and on bicycle.
Well, again, to your point, Laura, and I agree with that. I mean, when we first started discussing, Alan, you know it, when we were discussing the streetscapes. I mean, Gary Holmes said it so succinctly and so clearly that Batavia Avenue is a moat, and it's hard to get across from the people on the west to get downtown walking, and so I think it's a good idea for us to do and to follow up with.
Anything else? Thank
Anything
you very
else,
much.
Laura?
Thank you.
Thank you. Committee reports, community development.
There is nothing for tomorrow night. For next week, at the Committee of the Whole, we have a text amendment to add cannabis use definitions to the state law. And Laura also sent me the Plan Commission will have a number of items at the next meeting on November 6th. One of them being a conditional use for a U-Haul dealership at 1921 West Wilson, and a planned development and a plat of subdivision for the expansion of Menards on Randall Road, and a rezoning of a parcel at 1119 North Washington Avenue.
Very good. Government services?
So tomorrow we do have a quarterly update on the strategic action plan, and then the following week will be the very first night of discussions for the 2020 budget.
Public utilities?
Nothing to report, Your Honor.
City service?
Only thing I have is just a reminder, as we talked about the leaf pickups coming up soon, also to make sure to go out and make sure that you don't have a pile of leaves clogging the drain in front of your house, and then also to keep them out of the street up on the parkway in front of your house. That's it.
Okay. Go to other business. Anybody got other? Alderman Metzler?
Just a reminder that this Wednesday, the Batavia Marching Band's community performance at the high school. If you can, please, 8 p.m. They're doing a fundraiser as well in memoriam of Kyle Nicely. So please come support.
It's a fun night to be able to see them perform and not wedged in the middle or part of their show, but the entire show. Everybody can see what they perform when they go out and compete. I have one, Your Honor.
Alderman?
It's a fundraiser, but it's a little self-serving too, because it tries to help me out of having to wear a Minions outfit. I'm in the Halloween Hooligans this year. Dave Lundborg and I are both, or I talked Dave into doing this. Through the Batavia Arts Council, it's a fun event allowing us to be involved or get picked to do this, and they have 3 costumes picked out: the Blues Brothers, Holmes and Watson, and then Minions, which is in the lead right now. And so I guess what I'm calling out for is a plea to get me out of having to be a minion on Saturday. So if I win the contest, so somebody's going to have to start ponying up some real money. If we win the contest, I did say that I would wear the Minions outfits to a council meeting.
You do realize you just amplified the chances of being a minion.
I'm in 4th place right now.
But see, this
Dave and I are in 4th.
hashtag for that?
It's Halloween Hooligans. All you have to do is type in HalloweenHooligans.com and it'll take you right there.
It's trending. It is.
So,
But see, in sales, this is where you know your audience. As soon as you told me you didn't want to be a minion, that's when I hit
done.
donate. I already
And
hit done.
I'm more. I guess
So
I'm
if I
more
have to
interested
donate more,
in raising
keep
as
you
much
as
money as
involved.
we can for this. So that's the whole idea behind this, is to raise some money for the Batavia Arts Council.
And you're a minion.
Yeah, I know. So
and I believe Alderman Stark also put some money towards the minions too.
yeah, I'm sure Susan.
And I think Mark did.
Absolutely.
Don't say you don't. You should say I want to be a minion.
Whatever it takes to raise money for it, I'll do.
Sure. Really?
Yep.
Okay.
Hey, you want to pony up? I'll wear it to council.
Noted. Duly noted.
Corporate sponsors.
Anybody else have any enlightenment? Okay, just a couple things on the mayor's report. It's pretty good news, I think. Number one, I want to just share with you, this afternoon, we had what could have been a fairly serious fire at the Homestead at the Park Manor building. It ended up being a motor on the a wall air conditioning unit, and it did some significant damage. It burned a windowsill and a bunch of other stuff, but the alarms all went off, and that's a building where most of the occupants are somewhat incapacitated. They need to have help in some form or fashion. So I responded up there myself, and I get up there, and the fire department was doing a wondrous job of quickly getting the fire under control, but the Batavia police were up there, and they had gotten the keys from the owners, and they were in every floor almost instantaneously, opening the doors and yelling, "Police, we got to evacuate you. Are you in here?" And sure enough, I think the police found at least 3 or 4 people that had hunkered on down there, and where the alarms were going off and the lights were flashing, but they were just going to stay put. They weren't going to even come out the door to see what was going on. And so they were able to get everybody out of that building, and it was only because we physically went into the building and opened the doors. I didn't have to break them down because they had the key, but they got everybody out. And then Geneva and St. Charles and Elburn and West Chicago and North Aurora all came over to help us out. And there wasn't a lot of fire to fight, but there was a lot of older residents there. So I went in and was standing amongst them all in the lobby as they were wondering what's going on. And this one gentleman says to me, "Well, Mayor, as long as I got you here, any updates on what's going to happen to the Cubs next year?" So that's a question that doesn't seem to want to go away. And in the heat of fire and disaster and everything else, we're still concerned about whether the cable TV is going to have the Cubs. But that being what it is. The last couple of weeks, I've had the opportunities, and I told them I wouldn't say who was here, but I've had several mayors from the area in here wanting to look at Batavia and see what everything we're doing, where I guess we're kind of a piece of conversation in a lot of places, specifically in the downtown and what's happened downtown. And again, it goes back to what Alderman O'Brien is so proudly brings forth all the time of River Street and Houston Street and the commitment to the downtown, and everybody comes in and oohs and ahs and sees all these people walking around town on the weekends with these phones in their hand, and they're looking at some Pokemon thing or something that's on these, where there's various characters sitting on top of the building and on the top of the windmill and everything else, I guess. And I engaged a group of them in conversation last week, and I said, "Where do you folks come from?" And they said, "Well, we live off of the north end of Rockford, and our club was recommended that we all come down here and take this in because this is unlike any other show around here." So this weekend, we think there's going to be 39 people from Rockford down here in Batavia walking around the downtown, Pokemoning these things and looking at these phones, which I think that's really good stuff, quite frankly, because it certainly speaks well that we got something here that's got everybody's fancy, and it's on both sides of the river and whatever have you. That being said, when I had these other mayors in here, they're saying, "Well, how much money did you get out of the state government to help pay for this?" And I said, "Well, a little bit at the beginning, but we haven't gotten a lot recently." And then I go into my role in Chicago, and I hear all these stories, and I guess, I know we're getting ready to talk about the budget, but I guess I want to just share with you the observation that we nor any other city in the area should think that we are going to be any type of a benefactor of funding from the state of Illinois for any project. They can tell you that they would like to give you a grant, but I would question whether they're going to have the ability to give you any grants, because their finances are, from what I can see in an analysis that I've been party to, they're about as rough as you can be, and they've got a whole bunch of unpaid bills that they roll over every month, and they're about 6 months behind. And all the money that comes in immediately seems to go back out to pay this month's, overdue bills. So the idea that, I remember one mayor telling me one time he wished he could have gone someplace and passed an ordinance and got the word grant taken out of every book in his city so that people wouldn't continue to come in and say to him, "Well, why don't you go to the state and federal government and get a grant?" He says, 30 years ago you could go to that and that could work, but right now there's no grants out there to be gotten of any magnitude, and there's a lot of people hoping there are, but there really aren't. So as we get into the budget discussions, if I raise my voice or get excited, it's probably going to only be when we start talking about, well, let's go get a grant to do this. And I just had to participate in an interview with the Daily Herald about the dam up here, and I shot my mouth off in there and said, if anybody thinks the state of Illinois is going to waltz in here and pay to either take the dam out or rebuild it, I think they got a long wait coming, because I don't see that happening in any time in the near term at all. And so the one thing the state did do that seems to be having some impact was they raised the gas tax 19 cents, which was not very popular in anybody's realm. But that does seem to be generating some money to do some much necessary road work, but that money doesn't seem to be, unfortunately, I guess in some respects, it doesn't go anyplace else in the state government. It's on the roads and the various transportation amenities that we have, and it's not being spent, probably shouldn't be spent for anything else, because that's all coming off the gas tax. But there's a lot of people thinking that a lot of the ideas the state has for raising money are not probably going to pan out. And we shall see what we shall see. But I would be very reluctant to suggest to us that we are going to be able to look to the state or the federal government for any big pots of money. I mean, we have been the benefactors to some, specifically from the federal level, but that's federal money and that's all for a transportation project. So the days of money for other things is, I'm thinking, stretched.
So, on that, Mr. Mayor, if you don't mind me asking, I mean, I'm just kind of throwing a point out there. Can we find out how much the city of Batavia, the residents and the gas businesses pay towards that 18-cent tax to the state? And then perhaps, we can ask the state, maybe they can give us
Well, the state takes the money and throws it into one big pot.
one big pot, but if we say, hey, since the city of Batavia paid around, if we say we paid $1 million, we say, well, wouldn't it be nice if you gave us back some of that money so we can put towards our roads?
Well, we do get some back through the sales tax and our municipal sales tax, so we're not hurting too bad there, in my opinion, but, I mean, there's massive amounts of unmaintained roads in this state that any of our residents, you or me or anybody else, could be driving down and have a bridge collapse underneath us or whatever have you, so that money needs to be spent, and I'm glad they are spending it and doing it, but I don't think we're being cheated on.
Well, I don't think we're being cheated, but it's just asking a question so we can better take care of the residents in our city
Right, well, I'm just-
and our roads. So that's all, if that's doable,
Well, the budget this year, I think, is going to be an interesting exercise, and we are very fortunate that we have the people at the helm that know how, specifically Peggy Colby and her staff, they've become artists in it. And I've had other governments ask me for copies of the budget. That's one of the reasons they got those books sitting over there, because other people come in and want to see this, because, again, we seem to be way ahead of the game as far as knowing what we're doing and how we're doing it and what we can and cannot expect.
Your Honor, on that point, I think the MFT, the motor fuel tax, that would be increased. We would get a portion of that. So if they increase the total amount that the state takes in, we get the same percentage back to the city. So if we're generating more, we should be seeing that back. Peggy would have to confirm that, but I believe that's how that would work.
Well, that's a question we can certainly ask her during the
Absolutely.
budget discussion. Because, I mean, I think all of you are fairly well educated on the budget now, but there's the constant changes taking place in that whole realm, and Laura just intimated to a couple of them in her report of things that, and Alderman Dan's had brought up a couple of things that, are going to be squeezed and looked at very seriously as to how they will or will not work, so it should be an interesting exercise and discussion this year.
As every year.
As it is every year. No other business, I'd entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Alderman O'Brien, second by Alderman Bellotti. Take a voice vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, yeah.
How's it going?
I didn't ask.